No.
I like my free haircuts.
It's probably more maintenance shaving it, right?
What's that?
Like I just got mine cut the other day, and it's already. And I go skin like here.
Yeah.
And in a day or two, it grows in, and you know it's fucking just gray now. I'm just all fucking gray now, so I try to keep it as tight as possible. You know, I'm more worried about being able to move and fucking your
hair. Yeah.
Well, stand up without making noises. You know, now when I get up. Oh, fuck. Shit.
Well, we trained legs that one time a couple years ago. Like, your knees sounded like a bag of popcorn.
They still do. They haven't got any better.
That's why I said the cortisone last night.
Yeah, right. Dude, I bought one of those Bosu balls.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm using that. I do a functional day, sometimes twice a week, and I'll do squats off that with a couple kettlebells. I still do my weight training.
Yeah.
But I do that to strengthen the knees and your ACL, MCL, keep all that shit. And the funny thing is, my daughter's soccer team, they're a top team.
Okay.
And they compete for national championships and stuff like that.
Travel all around the country?
Yeah, I got to go to Maryland next week. And then actually we're going to Long Island. We have a weekend in Long Island and then Orlando for a national qualifier. And my little one too. She's a fucking 10-year-old. It's why, like I told you, like I didn't want to travel, so it's like I'm hindering building the business, but dude, I want to see my girls, dude. And if I have to grow a little slower, I'll grow a little slower. But the coach pulls me aside and he says, "Hey, listen, last season, not our team, but two of the top teams, in one game, this girl tears her ACL, pull her out." Within a minute of when they resumed play, another girl tears her ACL. And then later on, before the game ended, somebody else had a knee injury. I don't think it might have been a patella injury.
Was it the turf?
It could be.
That they were on?
It could be.
How old are these girls?
These girls, I think it was a grade up. My daughter's 14, so it was the 14-year-olds last year.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But for that age, to have ACL injuries, that's a little too uncomfortable. So he's like, "Can you devise like a little routine?" So I told the parents, "Go buy these Bosu balls, just stand on them, develop that mobility." Yeah.
Well, I used
you use it too?
Well, I used to use it. So I would put the baby in the harness and bounce her on it.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that could get her to sleep because our kid doesn't sleep.
Well, we had the full ball that my wife used for exercises before the pregnancy. So we would use that. You ever have those sling rocket chairs?
No.
Oh my god, dude. They're scary as shit, but they're cool as hell. I couldn't sit in it. My wife
suspended?
did. Yeah, you suspend it in a door frame. But dude, this thing could come down. This thing and it bounces. It's like I don't think it's springs. I think it's more like
a shock that comes.
No, like what's a bungee, like bungee ropes.
Yeah.
Bungee cords.
Huh.
And you kind of just bounce on them a little bit, and the babies loved it.
Huh. My wife used to have she used to do like the yoga, but you know how they use like the aerial yoga stuff?
Yeah.
So we used to have like upstairs, it would bolt right into like a rafter.
Yeah.
And she would do all the stuff on that.
Right.
But I made her take that stuff down.
How's the baby? How's the baby?
So I took over night duty in August because my wife came to me and she's like,
"Fuck you."
Yeah, she's like, "I've done it for a long time.
Fuck
like,
you.
It's your turn." And I was like, "Yeah, but I work all day." And she goes,
"Yeah, that only goes so far, dude. You can't use that excuse so much."
So I've been on night duty, but my daughter still doesn't sleep. She's almost 11 months, and I probably wake up anywhere between 6 to 8 times a night.
Fuck.
Yeah.
She's not sleeping?
Nah. But she's the happiest kid. Like, she'll scream at night because I don't know if she wants attention, if she wants food. We don't really know.
Are you still breastfeeding or no?
Mm-hmm. And
don't put her down?
And we're doing solids, too. So we're doing both. And
usually
what kind of solids? Applesauce? Is that a solid?
Yeah, it's
technically
you gotta
solid.
break it
No,
up.
but I mean, she's eating pasta. She's eating
steak.
My wife's she used to be the biggest meat eater, but then she went vegan for a little while, so now she's like pescatarian. So no meat for a little while, but I'll ease that in. Yeah, she eats we fed our daughter crab, lobster, like she's eating all that stuff.
All right. No allergies?
No, I mean, not that we know of. So
maybe And what kind of, you giving her formula too, or just?
No, just breastfeeding and food.
Creatine.
But she just doesn't. she just doesn't really like to sleep. And when she wakes up during the day, she's the happiest kid. Always smiling and giggling. And, people love her, but we just we don't sleep. And actually, like when she told me to take over night duty, my diet almost instantly changed. So I went from sleeping like 6 hours a night, but like good sleep, right? Yeah. And now I don't sleep.
Right.
And dude, I just crave shit 24/7. Yeah. I eat ice cream like 4 times a week right now.
Really?
Yeah. At least. Like every night I'm sitting there like.
That was a rare occasion, right?
I know. Yeah, that's like my biggest weakness. And right now, since Halloween, like my carb source is M&M's.
Dude, I bought 2 big bags of candy for Halloween to give out.
Yeah.
Might have had 3 families come over, and then I ate the rest of the bags.
Yeah. That's
like we had 3 people.
Yeah, dude, we had limited trick or treaters. Like we were I don't know.
I think it's done.
On top of business being a little slow these days, like the kids now they want you to bring the candy to them.
Yeah, the trunk or treats.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
So that's the new thing, right? Is trunk or treat.
But we've always done that. My girls have all through not just elementary school, but preschool and everything else. We've done that every season.
What's the point though?
Of the trunk or treat?
Yeah.
So the trunk or treat is it's supposed to be for the younger kids, so they don't have to walk through neighborhoods for safety. Whatever. I mean, they're with parents. I don't.
Yeah, you pull them in the wagon.
Listen, they soup those trunks up though.
Yeah.
I walked my dog, and there was a little school next to my house, and they were having one. Man, it was like a haunted house. In
Are we
trunks.
live? Because this is going to be funny in a minute.
Yeah. I think we're live. I just gotta get this.
Well, dude, some of the funny things, I've come to the conclusion. I've really come to the conclusion that it's just a facade. These trunk or treats. Dude, they're not for the kids.
Yeah.
They're for the fucking parents.
That's what I say.
Dude, you ever see some of these fucking parents?
Yeah.
Dude, don't tell me these kids are eating this candy.
They're decked out. They're socializing, drinking beers.
Yeah,
they got the cocktail mixers.
They're all set up in the parking lots. They've been planning it for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this is all set up for the parents.
I was saying to my wife the other day, like, all right, so if you're going house to house, and she was saying it was for, like, the safety, because you want to know, like, who you're getting the candy from and stuff. And I'm like, well, if you're going house to house, like, at least you know where people live.
Right.
I said, you're just getting some dude dressed up in his car giving your kid candy. I said, good luck tracking that dude down.
Yeah, but
so the way,
school.
Well, yeah, the way we've done them, they've been at the schools or at the daycares when my kids before they hit kindergarten. So they do it there. It's all there's cops in the parking lots. It's secure.
Okay.
But even last year we had a decent amount of trick or treaters. To the point where we stocked a lot of candy this season just in case. And even Stacy's like, here's because my daughters, they go to the trunk or treat place, but they don't. We try to restrict.
Right.
Not that we're enforcing too much, but a little bit. But so we have a bag of the stuff they got. I go, let's give this shit out too. And my wife's like, well, don't open the other stuff because if we'll return it, if nobody comes. But dude, we had bags of stuff to give out, and by 5:30, 6 o'clock, like I had the last knock on the door. That was it.
Yeah. It did start to rain around.
Yeah.
For us, it wasn't until later.
Okay.
It was like darker when it started raining. But then I have like some asshole kid like who's in high school. Clearly he's just in high school.
Yeah.
And I still think I'm not. Going away from the fact, I think he was there to try to see if my daughter was home. Like one of those. Yeah. There's been some.
See him in the side yard later in the night.
Yeah. These kids, dude. They got balls, dude. Some of these young boys, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. So like when I was a kid, I think I was turned 15 or 16, and we had a huge party. And I never threw parties. My parents like, do whatever you want. Like half the high school was there. We threw this huge party, right? Well, we're 15-year-old kids, like being assholes. So like people are like, knock, zoom on people's doors and all that stuff. Well, this guy came out. He comes out in his tighty whities, right? And he's probably like my age now. He's like 6'4". He's a Marine. And he comes out like looking for the people knocking on his door, right? Because he was ready to beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah,
he didn't care
post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
He's got an assault rifle. Who's knocking on my door?
Like, he didn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
But like, dude, you do that now, like you can't get away with it. And I feel like the kids now just know that they can get away with a lot more because you can't put your hands on that kid. You're done.
So,
Uh-oh.
yeah. So a couple years back, my daughters were younger. There was a troubled family, in the neighborhood. And, when we first moved in, we had heard, about this kid and his older brother. And, they were in high school and, responsible for a lot of the shenanigans that go on.
You live in like a hoity-toity neighborhood?
Yeah, but there's always some jerk off. There's always some asshole, No, I live in a good area, but I live in more of the common blue-collar area of that town,
right.
which,
Okay.
it's a good neighborhood. It's a good, safe neighborhood. But these kids, when we first moved in, they were fucking up people's houses, breaking into people's cars. When we first moved in, somebody broke into my wife's car and they took her navigation system. She had some, small amount of cash in the front, and they took that. And so there's this incident that happened where they took the windshield wipers off this guy's car. He didn't realize it's pouring down rain. He works up in the nuclear plant, the energy plant up in North Jersey, and we were friendly with him at the time. And turns his wiper on, and the metal scratches his glass. Now he's driving up in the pouring rain. He's got to get to work, and he's scratching his windows and can't see through the fog, so has to pull over on the side of the road and find a place at 2 a.m. to put windshield wipers, some of this windshield wipers that would fit his car. So there was shit like this going on. And then somebody had broken in to one of the ladies' house who was 3 doors down from me. And somebody was home at the time, and she saw the kid, and they ran. And so, nobody's doing anything about this? So I go over there. It's a Saturday morning, and there was a kid that lived across the street with me that went to high school with the kid. And he witnessed the guy kicking the lady's door in. But he was afraid to say anything because he thought he'd get his ass kicked.
Right.
In school, but he told us, right? Don't know why he told us, but he told us. So I knock on the door, and it's Saturday morning, like 9 a.m. And there's like 7, 8 kids, like all high school kids. They run to the door. And, hey, can I help you? I said, is your father home? No, he don't live here. I said, okay. Is your mother home? No, she's sleeping. I said, she's sleeping? It's 10 a.m. You got fucking 8 kids in the house. I mean, she's sleeping. I could hear you from across the street, Well, she works nights. I said, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I said, which one of you is Sasha? He goes, I'm Sasha. I said, Sasha, come here a minute. So he comes to the front. I said, I'm your neighbor. I said, look, I'm not accusing you of anything. I said, but there's been some disruptions, in the neighborhood. I said, people breaking into cars, causing busy. Why? I said, dude, I'm not, just listen. I'm not here to accuse you of anything. I'm just telling you what's going on. Somebody tried kicking the door in a few days ago, a couple houses down. I said, there was a witness. I said, and they tagged you as the person. He said, well, I didn't. I said, dude, I'm not, I'm just telling you. I said, so I'm here to tell you today the shit ends. It fucking ends today. I said, you and your jerk-off friends, I said, you're unparented. Your mother leaves at night, so it leaves you assholes roaming around the fucking neighborhood at night. I said, it fucking ends today. Don't make me come back here. I said, tell your mother I stopped by. So I leave. Remember Mischief Night?
Yeah. I was born on Mischief Night.
Okay. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
I'm getting old now, so I don't really.
So, dude, a good month or two goes by, and the neighborhood's good. Parents like, what did you say to them? I said, they just weren't looking at things from the right angle.
How many years ago was this?
Dude, this had to have been 2014.
Well, that's when I met you.
Yeah.
You were fucking huge then.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
They all go up. Right. Yeah, I don't know why they.
So it's 2000. I believe it was 2014, right? Maybe 2015. So it's Mischief Night. It's Friday night. The neighborhood's been good for a month or two, right? Batman has done his job, right?
Yeah.
So my wife went to go pick up my daughters from gymnastics at the time, and I was working from home. And like, all right, I'll go pick up dinner. It was like a Friday night. We don't have to cook, this and that.
Nice.
So, dude, it was 5:30, 6 o'clock. where it's, you know, it's starting to get dark now, this and that. I come outside and somebody fucking egged my house.
Oh.
5 shots. One in the back window of my car. 2, I have a 2-car garage. One on my garage. One missed the garage and lobbed over the front part of my car where I was parked and landed on the asphalt of the driveway. And a couple different spots on the house. Oh. And I have vinyl siding in white. Like, dude, you know, like...
Yeah.
So, dude, I just fucking lose
Whatever.
it. I get in my car. I drive on their front lawn. Right on top of their lawn. I go to the window. I go to the door, and they have, like, the peephole, you know. Yeah. So I'm covering the peephole, so they can't see. I don't want to, you know, he's not going to open the door if he sees it's me. You know? And I'm trying to use, like, a high-pitched voice, you know.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, what do you want? Hi. It's just your neighbor. Can I talk to you for a second? What the fuck do you want? I said, no, dude, no, I just need to talk to you for a second. So he goes, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to call the police. Like, why are you being hostile? So I see him open the door, but he left the chain on. So he opens the chain. He's trying to look, and I'm standing on the side, so he can't see me, you know. So he starts like rattling the door back and forth. I don't know if he was like trying to fend me on. I don't know. I wasn't, you know. So he opens the door. And dude, now I'm in his foyer. And he lunges at me. The kid like lunges at me. And just instinctively, I come across and my elbow might have slightly grazed his sternum area. So he goes back and falls to the floor and there's like 3 or 4 kids. There was a carton of eggs.
Oh, no way.
They still had hoodies on and work boots. And there was a broken egg on the sidewalk that they must have dropped either walking in or walking out.
Oh, wow.
So I shut the door, and these kids just fucking scatter. Like, they're just hiding in the house. So I said what I had to say, and I leave. So I'm like, fuck, you get out of there. Like, what the fuck just happened? You know, like, so I call my wife. I still got to pick up the food. You know, the food. Yeah. So I'm like, where are you? She's like, I'm just getting the girls some gymnastics. I said, do me a favor. When you get home, I said, just get in the house. I'm going to pick up the food. We're probably going to have some visitors, you know, when we get back. You know, she's like, what do you mean? I said, I want to say it on a speaker. You know, I'll explain to you later. So I come back from getting the food, and there's like 2 cop cars like parked in front of their houses. I'm like, ah, shit, dude. So I end up getting home before my wife does. So I go in. I have my wallet on me, my phone, and something else, and I just go in the house and I get everything off me and come back outside and I'm waiting. So 2 cop cars come in and they pull like in front of my driveway. And is everything all right, sir? I said, I don't know, guys. You tell me. I said, I seem to have been targeted for vandalism. So I'm pretty sure it was a hate crime. So they got out of the car. It's like, so you're the guy? I said, you guys want to get out and talk? So they got out of the talk, and my wife actually pulls up with my daughters, and my daughters run up to me, like, yeah, and then they're hugging me. I'm like, oh, everything's fine. Daddy's, you know, just go in the house. I'll be out in a minute. So, you know, what happened, you went over there and hit that. I said, oh, I didn't touch anybody, dude. I said, the kid lunged at me. I said, and then I just put my arms to get him from assaulting me. And then he fell. He's like, oh, he said you threatened us. I don't care what he told you. I said, I didn't threaten anybody. I said, but obviously you see what he did. I said, look, guys, I know you've been at that house for the past 3 years. Yeah. There's been complaints from everybody. I said, you know what these kids are up to. They've been vandalizing this neighborhood. I said, but I'll tell you something. I said, they're lucky. They are lucky they did this with my wife and my kids not home. I said, because if I would have been in a position where I had to protect my family, I said, you'd be here for a different reason. So he's like, well, I don't know what you said, but you obviously scared the shit out of him. He was crying and didn't want to come out of his house. I said, well, I didn't threaten him, and I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing he doesn't come out of his house. I said, maybe the rest of us will be safer. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to be patrolling all night, and, hopefully this won't happen again. I said, well, thank you. And one guy comes, and I didn't know if they were playing good cop and bad cop and just wanted me to admit to something.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, if it was me, he's like, Because I don't fucking blame you. No, that was in the fucking left. But there used to be mischief nights, you know. Yeah. There's not even mischief nights anymore. But these kids, dude, it's.
I was at a wedding recently, and the one guy sitting at the table was telling us where he used to live in Philadelphia, North Philly, and when he moved to Philly, he didn't know anything about Philly, so he found a cheap apartment, and that's where he moved. And he said one night, we got a text from his car saying like somebody had like breached entry. So he goes out to his car, and he sees somebody's in there.
Ooh.
So he's like, oh shit. And he tells it as like he's the only white guy on the block, but he's Spanish, but they call him the white guy. And so he doesn't have a gun, so he goes out there with a machete. Oh. Right? So he's like, he just wanted to scare the guy out of the car or whatever. So he gets to the car, and the kid's taking pictures of his debit cards and stuff, because I guess he left his wallet in the car. Oh, so the kid was going to put everything back and then steal his info or whatever. Yeah. So he gets behind him with the machete and like scares him and starts yelling at him and stuff. Well, the kid like freaks out. He has like a little bit of a panic attack, and the guy tells him to get lost. So he's like, the guy's in his own car, like putting things back or whatever, and he looks, and the kid's still sitting over there on the curb, and the kid's crying, and the kid's yelling at him now for scaring him like that.
Right. I get it.
It's. How the fuck does that happen?
Dude, can anybody steal anything anymore without being threatened? Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, what's going on in this country? You can't even be a good thief. You can't even be a proper thief anymore. People attacking you, defending their own property? God forbid.
Aren't you happy you had girls?
Yes and no. Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dealing with the high school, and I got good kids. They're good kids, but, And dude, they're two badasses. Like, they're two, good scholars and badass athletes, but they're still going to fall into the social aspect of where do I fit in, and who am I? My oldest daughter, she's at that age where she's developing and trying to find out who she is as a person. But I got to say, man, like she went through a couple months where it was tough, man. It was tough as a parent, to see some of the shit. I guess, Doc, dude, we're just different. Guys are just different. We got a problem, dude. We're going to settle it, and then we're fucking buddies after. It's just different. With girls, it's vicious and, like, fucking petty. They're jealousy. And, dude, with guys, hey, if there's a girl, three guys like her, hey, maybe one of us will get her. You know what I mean? Like, what with girl, like, my daughter, and she's an attractive girl, and there was this other girl, and my daughter was she's friends with a bunch of guys, dude, and I get it from the guys. They're probably trying to, but sometimes she's blinded by that. She thinks they just want to be her friends. She doesn't realize, unless she's just pretending she's naive to me, right, Sammy, okay. Right? Yeah, every guy wants a friend that looks like you, right? So, but this one girl didn't like the fact that some guy that she was dating was already friends with Sammy first. So, the girl tries to alienate her in school, and she's one of these girls who throws the parties so people kiss her ass, and, she's lives in the elite part of the town.
Yeah, she's got the power.
Well, you only have power if it's given, right? It's not a real power. And the funny thing is, she has this big party, and you could see like all these other people who were not her friends anyway, but they're kissing her ass just to get invited, which was weird to me because, like you mentioned before, we had parties, but everybody just went. There was no invitation, right? Like he's having a party, whoever goes, right?
Yeah.
It's just different now, but seeing her develop and some choices that she's making, some of them you kind of struggle with, but then you have to realize that you have to allow them to make mistakes, and they have to learn, and you can't live their lives for them. And you hope, hey, look, I've made a million mistakes, and I still make mistakes, and you just want to. I'd like you not to make as many mistakes, but maybe they need to, But yeah, the teenage years are. You'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see.
It's. Man, the day we found out we were having a girl, we could have swore we were having a boy. And we found out we were having a girl, and we both, we were outside on our deck, and we both just, like, rocked back, and we're laying on our backs, like, looking up at the sky, like, what did we get ourselves into? And, but, I mean, so far, every single day, I've said, thank God we had a girl. Because it changed me.
Yeah.
So, I feel like if we had a boy and it cried, I'd be like, get the hell out of here.
Toughen up,
like, figure it out.
Yeah.
But like a girl cries, no, come here.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
For a father, and I was that way also, and I still am. There's that endearing part that they're always going to be daddy's girls.
Yeah.
And then you have to open that up a little more, and that's the tough part. You have to open that up with the fact that, all right, now she has interests in other guys. Oh, nobody touched them, but you have to be willing to accept that. And willing to accept, like, dude, they're drinking at 14 years old. They're doing this at 14 years old. The kids are
we
vaping.
were. You expect them not to?
Well, that's where I struggle, right? Because I didn't.
At all?
No.
So, we were like smoking
when did you
pennies
start
at
drinking?
12.
What's that?
When did you have your first drink?
So I think I know I drank once or twice.
Okay.
But I grew up in an alcoholic house.
Oh, okay.
So drinking turned me the fuck off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so, and I know I tried it, but I wasn't one of these guys that went to I'd go to the parties, and me and my best friend at the time, we were a football player, we could eat all their food. We would go in there and fuck, because we're training, we're trying to get big. We'd eat all. This girl was like, I had a party, I have no food for them. My parents left for the weekend, there's no food in there. I don't know what you're talking about, But in the meantime, everybody else is trashing her house, drinking, getting fucked up, doing shit in the rooms, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And we're in the kitchen cooking food.
Hell yeah.
But I didn't drink. I still to this day never smoked a cigarette in my life. Oh, wow. I didn't try drugs until I was like in my 20s. Like after that. So, and my wife's like, well, that's fucking rare, and I get it. So I have to be willing to deal with the fact that she's going to experiment. But I think because we don't drink in the house, and I see some of these other kids, and dude, like their parents, like, they just fucking, oh, come on over. It's just to find an excuse to drink. Like it's drinking nonstop, and it's wine and so you'd think there'd be learned behavior and pattern behavior where my parents don't do it, so why do I do it? And I hope it leads to that. But as she sees her friends doing it, so we're talking, and I'm saying, look, I'm not condoning the drinking, but if you do, this is what you have to know. So I go over alcohol poisoning and how much to drink and what to do and how you're supposed to feel and what it does for you, the effects. How it lowers your inhibitions, and you make bad decisions. You make decisions that you wouldn't make. When you're intoxicated, you might think about these things, but you're in your right frame of mind. Should I cross the road right now? Fuck no, do this trip. But when I can make it, and you fucking get hit. So there's decisions you have to realize. And so I asked her, I said, do you even know how to pour a drink? So we have like one of these big 30-ounce, water ice jugs, and I said, well, if you wanted to pour yourself a drink in one of these, what would you do? So, dude, she fills it like halfway with vodka. I said, dude, you'd fucking die. Halfway, like, no.
Yeah.
So, you try, if any, and you don't ever drink anything that somebody hands you. When you're older, you make sure that you get your own drinks. I said, and we're still not condoning it, but we know you're going to be around it. So you just try to.
I'm just not ready for all that.
No.
I'm glad I got 14 more years ahead of me to prepare myself.
It's, well, it'll go in segments. There'll be little things where you have to let go. Yeah. A little more here and then you get to those teenagers like, fuck, man, like, what do I have left? There's nothing left to hold on to.
Speaking of children,
I have 9 million sperm. My sperm counts 9 million.
Really?
Yes, thank you.
So
it was 4.
Not 4 million.
4.
Like 4 individual.
Single digit.
I've heard that. I've heard that before. How long did it take?
So, it's been like 3 months.
So, were you seeing a fertility doctor?
Yeah.
Or you do this all on your own?
Right now, I'm seeing a fertility doctor. And when I first got there, they did the blood work and everything. And they called me and she was like, yeah, your test is a 7.
Your test?
And I never knew.
His total.
Were you
my
on?
total test? No, I'm off everything.
So you were off how long were you off before you got your blood work?
Like the first one, it was like a month and a half.
So you were off for 6 weeks. When you got blood work, did you do any PCT?
So that's when. So I was taking Clomid, but once I saw them, they gave me HCG and Clomid and everything.
Okay.
And I've been jerking off in cups, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a fun night.
But just so I can, go have some kids and
you can torture yourself.
Yeah,
the way we are now.
Yeah. So then I went back 3 weeks later. 3 weeks on the HCG and everything, and my sperm counts at 9 million now.
No shit.
So
Good for you.
hopefully I'll be joining you fellas.
Did you do the HMG too, or just the HCG?
Just HCG.
So you didn't need to go the other route.
I guess so. Yeah, I didn't even hear about it. What's that?
So HMG, it's a little more potent, but usually the way the doctors do it is if the HCG doesn't work, and a lot of times guys who are so suppressed, it takes to be honest, dude, 3 months. It's
fast.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So you might have. How old are you?
I'm 35. Getting up there.
How long you been using?
So it was 27, 7 years.
Straight, or did you come off and on?
Pretty much straight.
I'm a mathematician, but I think that's 8.
Right.
No, because it was like I started with the pro hormones. No, I started when I was pro hormones. 25.
The pros will probably fuck you up more than.
Yeah,
He took Super Trend from Blackstone for like a year. That was Dianolone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much all blasting and cruise is not the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah,
but most of the time though, it was just like I would just do one shot of test regular, and then when I would go to compete, that's when I would add everything else.
Okay.
Well, we had talked about that before as far as like receptor sites go, right?
Yeah.
And you were a big proponent of coming off.
Absolutely.
Because your body can reset and be more fresh to
Yeah.
the doses that you're taking in.
Yeah, you're 100%.
But nobody does that
Nobody
anymore.
does it.
No,
everybody stays on.
So I just did a video and I mentioned how important it was to come off on my Instagram, and I got a message from an old friend of mine and said, "Hey, dude, I'm doing and he's my age, he's 50. He's like, I'm doing TRT right now. My test level is like 800-900. I was at 350. I'm doing 200 milligrams once a week, and he has me doing an anti-estrogen once a week, which is fine. He's like, do I need to come off too? And I said, no, dude, but at that age, if you're doing it for hormone replacement at 50, you're not producing much. But the younger guys, so somebody, I guess, misinterpreted the video, so for younger guys that are doing this for sports performance, athletic performance, dude, you got to come off, and it's just more effective that way anyway. If you're on it for longevity effects, chances are, don't worry about not producing, dude. You're 50 years old. You're not going to produce much anyway. So those guys can cruise with it. You know,
but even then, you should still run some HCG and Clomid throughout the year.
Absolutely, that's what they don't realize. Some of the doctors I've worked with, towards the end of my career and even after my career, I recommended that to them so they would incorporate it, but not a lot of them did. But the way they recommended using was not conducive to actually be effective. And for a while, and I think it's gotten a lot better now because of just new data that's coming out. Like this didn't work, so now they're doing it certain ways. How much HCG were you running a week?
It was
7,500.
No, it was less than that.
See, that I have a problem with that. I mean, you're fortunate, dude, but so they would recommend 1,000 UIs a week. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? Maybe for somebody who hasn't been suppressed.
It was 25.
25 a week?
2,500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25.
The bottles were 10,000.
10,000.
And I did, it's 2,500.
So, okay.
A week.
Just once a week? You see that?
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. 3 times a week.
Oh.
Sorry.
75.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 times. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So that's better than, and I've heard a few people that are getting doctors that are administering it that way lately. That's better than it's ever been. They used to recommend 1,000 a week. And I was like, what the fuck is that going to do? And for that, you've got to be on it for forever. The problem with HCG is it can have a suppressive effect the longer you're on it. You don't want to be on HCG too long.
Okay.
And the dosages they were recommending for people were more for people that just have a natural low testosterone level who are trying to incorporate some kind of fertility into their program now, not people that are suppressed from anabolics or PEDs. You have to treat it differently because you're not naturally suppressed. You're just suppressed because you're getting it from an erogenous source. So it has to be treated differently. So the way I used to do through my career, dude, I used to do 5,000 units a day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, but it was effective.
Were you sitting on
your balls were like...
No, but dude, you're talking, I was doing 1,000, 1,500 mgs a test a week at certain times during that, So I would run it for 10 days in the middle of my cycle. And then I would do it when I would come off for 3 full weeks.
Okay.
I would do the HCG for about 12 days, but it's 12 heavy days.
Yeah.
5,000, 5,000, 5,000 for the first 3 days. Then a day off. Then I'd go 2,500 every other day until I ran out. I used 3 bottles. So it was a total of 30,000 units. But, dude, and 2 Clomids a day.
Oh, you take 2?
2 Clomids a day. And, dude, it jolted my system. Like, you could feel it. Like, I felt like I never came off.
That's how I would feel when I was on a true HRT program. Like, people think HRT or TRT and they go 200 megs a test and an anti-estrogen, right? And that's like the staple. That's not what HRT really is, though. Right. What HRT is finding a way through pharmaceuticals to maximize your levels to get you in the normal range. Right? So it's not 200. For me, it was 120 and no anti-estrogen. That put me in the 600-700s and that was fine, right? I didn't need 200, so I didn't use that much. But I have a friend who was a bodybuilder. He was a lifetime natural, hopped on for a few years, got his pro card. He's been natural again for like 2-3 years now. And he has a 700 natural test. His free T, I want to say, is like 35. And his sperm count was checked off as fine. Can't have kids. And he has his wife checked out, and she's fine. Everything's fine. But it's just not working for them. It's not working. And sometimes that happens too.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no nap like a low test nap. Right. I am crushing 2-hour naps right now.
I could even...
He hasn't had a blood test since he was an infant.
Actually, I get it done now.
No, I said low test.
Oh, low test. Actually, so when I was getting my prescriptions, because, I had some legal issues. So I had to, now it's got to be justified.
I think,
So I did what you did.
Yeah.
I went off for, it was probably 6 to 8 weeks with nothing, but it was intentional.
Right.
I wanted to show. So my doctor calls me. She's like, and the funny thing is, I didn't feel any different. Still training, didn't lose really any size.
Right.
It was a good 8 weeks. I was off. She calls me up. She's like, how you feeling? I said, I feel good. She said, how's your sex drive? I said, every day, twice a day, sometimes, this and that. She's like, really? She goes, because I'm looking at your blood results. I said, okay. And I'm expecting it to be like, fuck, I hope it's low enough where she'll prescribe me testosterone. I said, where I'm at, like, 300, 350. She goes, 11. She goes, you're at 11.
Yeah, that's like,
She goes, I'm surprised you don't have a vagina.
Yeah.
So I was like, really? She goes, I can't believe you're sex. She goes, why don't you come in? We're going to talk. And she's the one that first, and this goes back years ago, when I really started paying more attention to where I knew, all right, this is the end of my career. I got to get my blood work and my hematocrit level, my hemoglobin levels to the roof. I had to get that in order, and my iron count was high, so my blood was thicker, which is a concern, but it's not so much a concern if your triglycerides are fine and your cholesterol's fine and your blood sugar's fine.
Mine are not fine.
Yeah, so that's a big concern. Yeah. Then it's thickening of blood that's not getting proper circulation. A high hematocrit level means it's just iron-rich, oxygen-rich blood.
Okay.
Which, hey, it's great for recovery, great for science and that, but and good for endurance. But if you have the high triglycerides and cholesterol and blood sugar with that, not a good mix. So you definitely got to get that in order.
Yeah.
But when with HRT therapy, I could even go a step further, and the way it's done. So I've been doing a lot of research lately, and you kind of shift directions when you get older, and your motives change. And there's a common, this actually guy who wrote a book, brilliant French doctor. It's called The Ageless Man, right? And he talks about andropause. Okay, something that really isn't studied or looked at in the U.S., but it is in other areas, right? And just like menopause for women could be dangerous and have harmful effects, and they don't talk about andropause for men. I don't know why. You could speculate and come up with some conspiracy theories, but there's a lot of facts that coincide with this that really just make you fucking think. So part of my career, I used a lot of DHTs, dehydrotestosterones, and you use them for contests because they're more of the hardening drugs, your masterones, your primobols, your winstrols. These are drugs that retain less water.
Yeah.
And for years, guys, you can't take DHTs because they make you lose your hair. And I took DHTs for years, and I didn't start losing my hair till I was 40. I I knew guys in their 20s, like even in high school.
Hey, easy.
No, but
easy.
But granted, there's guys that if you're going to lose it, you're going to lose it. So they would take Propecia and this and that and DHT blockers. So now there's evidence that suggests that the high DHT level is actually better than a higher testosterone level in terms of fighting andropause. So this guy goes into discussion about the lifespan nowadays. Let's just say for Americans, this is around the real number. The average lifespan for men is 82 years old. Right. Uh-huh. However, the average healthy lifespan is 62. So from 62 to 82, you're going to the doctor, you're on pills, you're on medication, you're on blood thinners, you're on cholesterol medication, you're on different types of medication because your system is not working for you anymore. So this guy goes into researching that, and he comes up with the fact that after 24 to 28 years old, when your testosterone level decreases and your body's not producing DHT anymore, right? This is where the first stages of andropause really set in. You have enough to carry you till you're like almost in your early 40s. And then from 40 to 62 is when it really declines, and then the health issues start acting up in 62 if you don't start taking care of yourselves. He recommends Proviron, which is a DHT, mestelorone, right? Which has a mild anti-estrogen in it, but the effects from Proviron are better than the effects of using TRT for testosterone, because you get the DHT, which then converts to testosterone, and it converts and DHT is more powerful than testosterone, so it converts in a better way. Your body utilizes it better, and then he also came to the realization that prostate. People worried about prostate cancer and prostate issues from high DHT levels. Well, the DHTs that you take, actually, they would inflame your prostate, which we all know, but they inflame it where they're absorbing nutrients and they're absorbing hormones better, they're absorbing blood better. It doesn't inflame it where there's free radicals there, where it's actually causing damage or deteriorating your prostate. So they saw this study of people that were taking DHT blockers had a higher risk of prostate cancer than people that were using testosterone or regular DHT.
Yeah.
So he then goes in to say that Proviron is not available in the U.S. It's available in European countries.
Is that a pill or injection?
It's a pill.
Is it liver toxic?
No, but very low toxicity levels.
Okay.
It's almost like it's an oral form of primobolan.
Okay.
That's how the androgen works. It's safe. It's good for people on calorie-restricted diets, and it's a good DHT.
So it's no more toxic than like an Anavar would be.
So Anavar is really low toxicity levels, but on that plane.
Okay.
I'm
just saying because they script Anavar. That's a legal drug in the United States.
Yes.
So
but that's not a DHT nor testosterone. It doesn't bond to any of those receptor sites. Anavar is the only anabolic that doesn't bond to any of the 3 steroid receptor sites.
Well, I was just wondering if they were not approving the Primo as a drug because of toxicity levels. But if we're saying it's the same, then that's not the reason. They were
prescribing Anadrol.
Yeah.
Right? They were prescribing D-bol for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So his link is, why are they giving people drugs, testosterones, that don't work as good as DHTs, that have higher toxicity levels, that could cause more damage? And his conspiracy theory is, well, they just put you on other drugs. Now you got to take something for your liver, and now you got to worry about this. Where in the European countries, they worry about more for health issues.
Oh yeah.
And he said it's just treated differently. I mean, if you look at the drug on its own, if you look at the pathology report of the drug, it's a pretty safe fucking drug.
Are you going to change your protocol based on that book?
Absolutely, but I got to go to Europe to get a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's something that most men should be taking, at the age of 40.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you don't need a lot of it. It's a 25 milligram dose, 3 pills a day, so it's 75 mgs a day. It'll keep your testosterone levels in range. And the good thing about fighting andropause is when you don't have a high testosterone level, what people don't realize is testosterone enriches your blood, right? And it helps things flow through your system. So it pushes sugars out, so it lowers your blood sugar level. It helps nutrients get to your organs and your vital organs. So when you don't have that, the nourishment that your organs and the other parts of your body should be getting aren't. And andropause causes that. So then down the road, it's easier for people to get high triglycerides because those fats aren't running through your, testosterone's a carrier.
Right.
It carries shit to the muscle cells. Whatever's not utilized, it flushes out, goes through your liver and gets processed and flushed out. Same thing with sugar. So andropause, the diminishing of your testosterone and DHT levels, promotes the fact that your organs and your other glands and stuff in your endosystem, they're not getting the proper nutrients anymore. And that's why you have this demise in health after that certain age. And it's not too, it's not too far to come to a conclusion that why is it at this age, everybody's health just starts going to shit.
Yeah.
I know guys that I went to high school with that are on blood pressure medication, that are on cholesterol medication. And granted, I'm sure a lot of them don't eat well.
Right.
But they were eating that way their whole lives. It wasn't like they've really changed. It's just they don't have the testosterone or the DHT that they used to have that was helping fight and combat the shit they were putting through their system.
Well, even in bodybuilding, they say like not to carry a lot of weight over 40 years old, right? Because that's that was one of the biggest indicators of like life expectancy is if you're still 300 pounds over 40, you're going to be facing some issues.
It's not going to last long. Yeah.
You're not too far off, buddy.
No, I'm like 5 years.
You told me the other day.
5 more years.
Say he goes home every night and eats a pie.
Yeah.
A blueberry pie.
I like blueberry right now.
He does it for the antioxidants.
Just listen.
I like the dark chocolate.
Oh, it's healthy.
I eat the dark chocolate.
I've had such a sweet tooth, man. I don't know why.
What do you eat during the day?
My diet, I haven't lifted in like 3 weeks. Like you were saying, when I got off for the first 6 to 8 weeks, I was fine. I was still lifting. Everything felt fine. That's why when they told me that my test was a 7, I was surprised.
Yeah, right.
But
7-Eleven.
Yeah. But after those first 6 to 8, that's when I really started feeling the low energy.
Right.
I had no interest in, not because I don't want to work out, just because I was so tired after a day of work. I would just take a nap, and by then it's so late. Like I haven't been to the gym in like 3 weeks.
He was fine until they told him he had low T. Once he found out it was in his head, done.
I thought that, but it really wasn't because when they told me, I still felt good. Like I was like, oh, I still feel good.
Right.
And it was just like, and then my diet has just gone. So right now I'm just not eating like how I normally eat, but I will get back to it. But it's just funny that you said that. It was like, 6 to 8 weeks. I felt perfectly fine. Everything was fine. And then I guess, they told me that.
Then you hit a wall.
Yeah.
And
but I feel better.
It could be so. What are you doing now? Are you back on now? Or
no, I'm still doing the HCG and the Clomid.
So you're going to donate a few more times? And,
yeah.
Okay.
But I tell you what, though, I'm starting to feel better. Yeah. Yeah, I got like another month, I think.
Get the wife ready?
Yeah.
Honey, I'm on my way home.
Yeah.
Hurry up! I got a meet coming up in a few months. We got to get this.
Yeah.
We got to get this thing going.
Yeah, but it's a hell of an experience because when you're younger and you do it, like I knew this day would come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it honestly, like, it hasn't been that bad.
See, when you're younger and when I was at my heaviest, and you feel invincible.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? Like nothing's gonna stop you.
Yep.
But then sometimes, you start thinking, well, this can't last forever,
Right.
And when I retired, I always said, like, when I retire, I want to get back down into, like, my fighting weight, my light heavyweight weight, 200 pounds, 198, which I always felt good at.
Yeah.
I always I could move.
Yep.
If I got to move, I could move, and I'm comfortable. Even the weight I'm at now, I'm probably 197, 198, but I feel good. I have more mobility, and I'm comfortable with that. And I still carry a decent amount of muscle.
Yeah.
And I could train, and I do functional training. So your ideas change of how you want to perform and how you want to live and how you want to look. But now it's I like running. I like, so.
Okay.
So
you just like running?
I do.
Like you like it?
Yeah. So
or
I
like
hate
you
it.
could do it?
I hate it. Yeah. And I try to talk my way out of it every time I'm on the treadmill. But, when you go through your sprints and your distance and your suck and you're done, you're like, fuck, man, that was.
Yeah,
it's the best workout.
I like the mental battle of running.
Yeah,
because there's a certain for me. Like,
I want to quit 3 times while I'm doing it, but I don't.
Right.
I never do. I will never quit.
for me, like there was a certain distance, especially if you're pushing like pace.
Yeah.
For me, it was like 1.5 miles, right? Where my body just wanted to shut down, right? And I just wanted to be done. But once you get over that hump, and for me, I got to
that runner's high, right?
Yeah, you get to that 2 mile mark, and you're like, oh, now I can control my heart rate when I want to.
Yeah, see,
I can do all that.
See, I don't even go over that, but I do sprints too with it.
Yeah.
So mine's more like
I do.
Yeah, like a hardcore endurance. Like like my heart rate gets up to like 168 on my sprints. Like,
okay,
so I'm feeling it. And then I cycle too. I do cycling. Like
I can't get my heart rate up high enough on the bike.
If you go fast enough and a little bit of tension, mine gets up to 145.
My legs burn out before I can get my lungs pumping to the same degree that running would get them.
So when I first started doing it was maybe a year or two ago. I started paying more attention to cardio. I couldn't go 5 minutes. Like the fucking lactic acid. Yeah. Now I'll go 20 minutes real fast, and then I do it 10 minutes on an uphill walk on a treadmill just to keep my heart rate going. And I do that twice a week, and then I do 2 days with my running and my sprints.
What's your cardio like?
Nothing. I dig. I dig every day. Just in bed.
And masturbating into a flask.
Yeah. Dude, I went in, so I did it.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
Well, I did it for the first time in the office.
For this guy, it's probably easier than you think.
And
that's gotta be
such
rough,
a
right?
weird thing when you go in there. And like there's a bunch of nurses, and they're like cute nurses, and they just know what you're about to do. Like you're going into this room to beat your meat.
Right.
And
do you need anything? Do you have any Asian foot fetish videos?
They do. They subscribe to like a porn site. So like when I went in
that's
there,
where the weirdness really comes out.
First off, I closed the door. There's this nice like hospital lazy boy chair there for you, and then there's a nice 32-inch screen TV, a urinal, and a sink. And then they got like the lube and everything over here for you. Yeah. Really? So the girl gives me the cup and the thing. She's like, fill this out and bring the cup out when you're done. So I'm like, all right. So I was like, I brought my own lunch. So like I brought my own porn. You know what I mean? I didn't need to like watch the TV, but I just wanted to see what they offered and what the last guy was looking at.
How was the selection?
What?
How was the selection?
Okay, so listen. So I turned it on, and I was surprised they subscribed to a site. So it's like a regular porn. They subscribe to a site.
So there's no commercials or
ads. You could look up whatever you wanted on there. They had a whole computer set up, and like I never heard of the site.
They have like a keyboard cover and they change it.
Oh yeah, I guess Well, that's why I was like, I'm not gonna. So anyway, I was checking the guy that was in there before me, MILF.
Oh,
it was MILF stuff.
All right.
But I was like, let me see. I got.
That's too basic for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see.
What are those hardcore porns like?
Tranny.
See, I'm kind of weird that you went right there. Let me ask you something.
Conversation with this guy.
Let me ask you something though. Is it less gay to watch a tranny bang a woman than to watch an actual man bang a woman? Because the tranny looks like a woman and is banging a woman. The man's a man banging the woman. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I asked this question to people. I like to know where they're at.
So I only have one answer. Good for you.
Go woke.
Woke up.
Woke up.
I'm just not attracted to it. I know plenty of people that are.
Yeah.
It just does nothing for me. I'm
not saying you got to watch it. I'm just saying think about it.
That's one of those railroad crashes that you don't want to look at. I'm going to drive right by. I got shit to do. I got other stuff to view.
I'm telling you, think about it though.
So
you got a
woman, tranny, a guy dressed as a girl.
Let me ask you something.
Or a girl dressed as a guy.
First off, so you're looking at, and you can cut this out if you want. This is the end of this.
Leave it.
But if you're watching a porn, you got a tranny or a man, an actual man, beefed up dude, banging a girl,
right?
And the doctors do great work these days.
They do.
A nice, attractive, tranny banging a girl. Is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. But I'm with you. I still love you.
Maybe another time.
That's what he thinks about at work all day.
I thought about that. Though. Someone brought it up one day. I'm like, huh. I was like, that does make sense.
All right.
We're
going to change that conversation. No, I'll probably stay in, but we're going to change that. But before we hop off, what are your Olympia predictions, like top 3? Open.
So, dude, I think it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the guys that were in the mix last year, probably will not. The higher up guys.
Okay.
I think Hunter, if he dials it in, and gets that crisp conditioning that I think everybody's waiting for, he would be very tough to beat, just because of his shoulder to hip ratio and
small waist, right?
I like waist.
Yeah, me too. I think Nick, Walker is going to make a huge impact. Of course, you can't, Ramy's there, but he's going to be challenged, and you got a bunch of newcomers, dude, that are sparking some interest.
The guy overseas.
Jack. You got Andrew Jack. You got Samson Duda.
Carrizo or something.
You got him,
Yeah.
and you still have Hani, who gets that 90s kind of conditioning, like that raw look.
What about Derek Lunsford?
I didn't even mention him. Shit, dude. Like he. See, you know what? It's tough to say this year because we've seen pictures, but you got to see the finished product, and it's different seeing him up with 212 guys than it is with guys that are 260, 270 pounds and plus, this and that. But dude, he's made some tremendous strides, this year, and he'll definitely be a contender for a top 5 spot, if not better.
Yeah, I think like the last 15 years in bodybuilding, it was always like the argument of like size versus aesthetics, size versus aesthetics. But now you're getting aesthetically pleasing big guys.
Finally.
Yeah, and that's where things are going to get really interesting is, which way are the judges going to lean? Are they going to go for a 275-pound aesthetic guy or like a 285-pound guy that's not as aesthetic? Well,
since, Sean Roden and Phil Heath, since they're, Sean rest his soul, but those looks, it's gone a different way. And now there's the potential of those looks coming back, which I think is only better for the sport, That's the look, man, like just that nice, athletic, well-balanced, look.
They can move on stage.
They can present. They can perform a posing routine, which are looking like they're gonna go into cardiac arrest.
I know you follow bodybuilding. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything he says. Yeah, I like I can't wait to see what happens, and because and Rami looks great.
Yeah,
like I was watching his videos or whatever on Instagram. He looks phenomenal.
He looks better than he's ever looked.
Yeah,
he looks harder now than he has this far.
Yeah.
Do you think Chad Nichols just like really knows what he's doing with the big guys?
I actually used to talk to Chad a lot back in my day, and see Chad. What's good about Chad is he has his outlook, and he has his approach. And he realizes that his approach does not work for every athlete, which is unique, because a lot of guys, they have this cookie cutter plan, and if it doesn't work for you, then I guess you did something wrong. Where Chad, he gets all of his guys dialed in, and he's done that for years. And starting with his wife Kim, and then Durrani, which has really opened him up to the market in terms of one of the best guru trainers, high-level Olympia trainers that we've ever seen. And it's good to see that he's back now. I know he took a little leave of absence for a while, but Chad's a good guy, and we spoke for a couple of my shows a couple times, but he's like, dude, everything you do is like what I do. He's like, I'll just be an eye for you, and which is really what I needed.
Oh, so you used them? Like
we talked, I think, for 2 of my shows in my pro career, and he's like, send me what you're doing, and he's like, dude, this is perfect. If anything, how'd you do this? And we kind of like learn from each other in certain aspects.
Right.
Like he learned what worked for my body, and this is how I do it, and maybe he took some of that and gave it to his guys, and I learned some stuff from him. I always had that fear of the last few days of carving up. Like I was always scared I think I was going to spill over, and I'm looking good when I'm depleted. I'm afraid to go the other way, so I just kind of needed that extra eye hey, dude, you're doing fine. Keep going. You can keep pushing. You can keep pushing, and it helped, you know. But he definitely, you know, he will get his guys ready.
So you think with him behind Big Ramy, you think Big Ramy still takes the first spot for this year?
I mean, he's still young enough, you know, and I'm sure he'll see. From a physique point of view, that's where I know Ramy will probably be the best version of Ramy ever with Chad. I don't know if that's any better than Hunter if he's at his best. You know what I mean? Or a couple other guys. Right. You know, well, you got to see them next to each other. Yeah. Like I remember watching. This is one of my Olympias, and you know, I saw a picture and, you know, an actual physical picture of here was from 7th to like 12th. And you look at it like, man, this is fucking tough. This is a tough lineup this year, man, you know. And then they showed the top 6, which, you know, I was in. And like, whoa, like, fuck, dude. Like if you saw that second group by themselves, dude, these guys are... But then you see the next group and like, holy shit, like now you know why they're in the second group.
That's how I always felt about Sean Clarita. If you see a picture of just him by himself, right, you're like, that's the perfect bodybuilder. Yeah. Then he steps, you know, because he's a small guy, he steps on stage next to bigger dudes that might have a bigger taper or something. Then he's like, oh shit, like.
But he's still structurally sound. You know, he's still pleasing, and he could still carry his own against the. I mean, he has. He's winning pro shows. You know, won the Olympia, and won an open show. Yeah. so he's one of those guys that could do it. But from a conditioning point of view, and a muscle maturity point of view, that's the difference of what's going to take place this year. I feel in like the top 5, top 6 spots. It's going to be who has that raw muscle maturity, who's dialed it in right. And could present it and knows how to peak, you know, for prejudging in a finals, because it could come down to the finals where they're looking at these people
back
twice.
And forth,
I mean, this is where the professionalism. I mean, this is the best shit, you know. Like this is where you who knows their shit the most. This is where the science comes into it and the will, and you gotta who has the heart, because this shit ain't easy. You know, we see it on stage and this and that, and we look at it. And it's not a physical sport, but it's a demanding sport. You know, it's a very demanding sport. And to go out there and pose under those lights, which you feel like you're under the sun, dude. You know, under those extreme conditions of being depleted, dehydrated, you know, malnourished, you know, and do it with a smile on your face. It's a lot harder. So the guys deserve, you know, a lot of respect.
As always, you know, we appreciate you making the drive over, doing this with us. The first one in the new room.
I love it, dude.
And just, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I prevail subs. I_prevail subs. And or Jason Arntz. They have both my Instagrams.
You're still not doing YouTube.
So we're getting. I have some YouTube videos. I haven't pushed it, but I'm trying to build that market now. So I'm in the process of putting all that together. Just started working with a new videographer and some stuff, and developing some content for the company, and you know, we're going to be pushing that in the next.
All right, so by the time this is released, you can find them on YouTube.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.